This week, police arrest the man they say tortured and killed an elderly couple inside their own home. And a man is shot dead by police after a butcher knife attack. Plus,
she nicked me and this was all black and blue.
An elderly couple fights off would-be robbers. Right now, Fox 5's Crime in the City. For our first story this week, we begin in the Bellerose section of Queens. That's where police say Jamel McGriff tortured an elderly couple inside their home for hours before killing them and setting that home on fire. He is now in police custody.
A suspect is in custody tonight for the horrific Queens double murder. Police arresting the man who they believe tortured and killed an elderly couple.
Newly obtained footage showing the suspect interacting with the unassuming victims moments before the attack. Fox 8 Jessica Formoso is live in Flushing with the very latest. Jess?
Natasha and Steve, the alleged suspect Jamel McGriff was brought here to the 107th Police Precinct. He is being processed at this hour and most likely will not be walked tonight. Now, McGriff was taken into custody just after 5:30 in Times Square near 44th and 7th Avenue. Police have been onto him, tracking his steps. They were in the Bronx this morning where he was last seen pawning 2 cell phones. Late this afternoon, authorities were made aware of his movements because they say he was using the victim's credit card. According to the NYPD, the suspect, a career criminal who was out on parole, tortured 76-year-old Frank Alton and his 77-year-old wife, Maureen, inside their Bellerose home for hours before killing them and setting the home on fire. Take a look at this new surveillance video from across the street. First, you see the suspect walking past Mr. Alton. Then moments later, the victim goes into the home with the suspect waiting at the gate before following him inside. The suspect was inside that home for 5 hours. Since then, it's been a manhunt. Police warning the public he was armed and dangerous. But tonight, the alleged suspect is off the streets. Now back here live, again, the suspect is being processed at this hour. Charges are still pending.
We now head to the Flatland section of Brooklyn, where a driver was killed following a high-speed crash in a stolen vehicle. It was all caught on camera.
We have breaking news this morning. A wild high-speed crash in Brooklyn caught on camera.
The driver is dead, and police are investigating if this car was stolen or not. Haley Fixler is live on the scene. It's in Flatlands, Brooklyn, with the very latest. Haley?
Good morning, Dan, Rosanna. Yeah, we're a bit closer to the impact site right now, and I want to show you what we are seeing. So if you look here in the median, you can see that car flipped over. It is totaled. But then if you look towards that tree here, you can kind of see the transmission, the motor, and the steering wheel. Looks like that tree split the car in two. And then closer to me right here on the ground, you can see bits of the car, shattered glass all over. Now, I want to show you the surveillance video that captures the crash from the very beginning. So take a look. This all happened just before 2 o'clock this morning, and you can see the car flying down the street and crashing into a building. The sparks even fly because of the impact. And then another angle shows the car hitting the building and careening off again into the middle of the street before landing into the median. Now, the car, again, totaled. We're told the 41-year-old driver is dead, and we're also learning that the car is suspected to have been stolen. Now, this crash actually took out the front door of a building here. You can see early this morning, people put up a sheet to block off their doorway. There's also a lot of cleanup going on. The intersection was a mess. This is the reaction people are having when they woke up to see the scene this morning.
It looks like 3 cars over there. I mean, it doesn't look like one vehicle. You know, I mean, I've never seen a vehicle, honestly, in person like that. Never in my life. And I've seen pictures, I've seen TV, but to actually see a vehicle dismantled like that from an impact on a building is crazy to me.
I also spoke with a woman who lives in this building, and she told me she was asleep, and then they woke up because the crash forced the building to shake. So that is how they woke up early this morning. Again, this crash is still under investigation.
Staying in Brooklyn, we head to Brownsville. That's where a man is dead after police say an attack inside an NYPD building led to a foot pursuit, then a deadly shooting on the street early in the morning.
The NYPD says the female officer was able to fight off the suspect after she was slashed in the face. Fox 5's Kendall Green is live at the scene of the incident right now with the latest on this. Good evening, Kendall.
Hi, good evening, Arthur. In all the places a police officer could fall victim of a slashing, you would think that it wouldn't happen inside of a police precinct, but that's what happened this morning here at the 73rd Precinct. And neighbors of that man killed behind the act say he seriously struggled with mental health. There are still questions in Brownsville following a deadly early morning shooting Sunday. Around 5:30, police say a man they haven't publicly identified walked through the front entrance of the 73rd Precinct without saying anything, then turned away when he noticed the next door was locked. Minutes later, they say he walked into the back of the precinct, a visibly restricted area reserved for the NYPD, and that's when an officer confronted him.
He then took out a large butcher knife and began attacking the officer. He slashed her in the face, but then she was able to fight him off. He then ran out of the back of the precinct, and an officer deployed a taser in an attempt to subdue the individual, but was not effective in subduing him.
The NYPD reports several officers chased the man for blocks, ordering him to drop this 14-inch butcher knife near Park Place and Eastern Parkway, less than a 5-minute walk from the precinct. At some point during that chase, they say he lunged towards an officer with that knife. Then police shot the man, killing him. Doctors pronounced him dead at Brookdale Hospital, while the man's neighbors say they've watched him struggle for years.
He's been struggling with his mental health for years. Not yesterday or today, for years.
That resident over the phone shared she may have been the last neighbor to talk with that man before the deadly incident. Other neighbors believe officers could have used a far less lethal approach.
He should not have got so far where he got hit. So there's many instances where the situation could have been de-escalated and handled differently.
A lot of these cases that occur involve split-second decisions by a police officer.
Retired NYPD Lieutenant Darren Porcher, who's worked at that same precinct, makes the case it's not that simple.
The officers were not availed to a person suffering a mental health breakdown coming to the police precinct. So they had to deal with or engage the situation in real time as it was occurring.
Now, this morning's shooting is under investigation by the NYPD's Force Investigation Division, but it's worth noting that that incident inside the precinct was caught on cameras inside and outside, and the shooting as well was caught on body-worn cameras worn by those officers.
Over in Gramercy Park, an elderly couple was almost robbed outside their senior center. They were able to fight off those thieves who left empty-handed.
An elderly Manhattan couple turning the tables on some brazen thieves who attempted to rob them. Fox 5's Jessica Formoso sat down with them in Gramercy Park and has their story.
She nicked me, and this was all black and blue.
89-year-olds Joanna Kucha and 87-year-old Larry Schwartz retelling the terrifying moments they lived Wednesday morning when entering their senior center on East 23rd Street in Gramercy Park. The elderly couple says a man approached them in the doorway.
He's talking to me, and he says, I'm from Dubai. I'm from Dubai, and I need directions.
She says he asked her where the nearest Walmart was.
There are no Walmarts in Manhattan. You're going to have to go someplace else. He said, still standing in the door, preventing it from closing. He said, tell my wife, tell my wife.
The wife, Joanna says, was outside in the back seat of a gray SUV. She walked over to her, but says that's when things took a turn.
She grabbed my hand. I thought she was going to shake it. And she took it and she started kissing my hand.
Larry walks out at that moment and approaches the vehicle.
She says, I have some things for you. So she holds up some shiny jewelry and stuff like that.
The woman notices Larry's $48,000 Rolex on his wrist and pulled out a Rolex of her own, telling Larry it was better than his. But Larry knew what she had in her hands was a fake. Within seconds, he says the woman had her hand over his wrist, trying to take his Rolex off, but Larry wasn't having it, and that's when the struggle began.
I took it and gave it a three-quarter turn, the wrist, pulled it so that her shoulder was out of line, and now I started to really twist to cause pain. and she starts to scream.
Larry pushes the woman back into her seat, and the thieves, he says, took off, thankfully empty-handed. Now, Larry goes to the gym and lifts weights every single day. Now, those thieves didn't think he had it in him, but clearly he did. Now, later on that day, the two went to file a police report, police telling us those thieves are still on the loose.
And finally, we end in Midtown. That's where police say this man attempted to rape a woman. He is charged with attempted rape and sexual abuse.
Suspect facing charges tonight after an attempted rape in Midtown last week. Police say it happened last Monday inside a business near West 36th Street and Broadway. They released these images of the suspect. The 34-year-old victim was able to fight the attacker off. She was taken to the hospital in stable condition. On Saturday, the NYPD arrested 35-year-old Joseph Richard. He is now charged with attempted rape and sexual abuse.
That's this week's Crime in the City. Subscribe for more at youtube.com/Fox5NY.